Overreaction number one. Kentucky and Indiana are both going to miss the NCAA tournament in the year of our Lord 2023. Fanta, you're shaking your head.
That's an overreaction. Indiana will figure something out. I'm disappointed in them. I know that they're hurt. I get it with Xavier Johnson and Race Thompson. But Jalen Hood-Schifino goes for 33 points, and you lost at home to Northwestern. Now, credit to Chris Collins' group. He's got veterans. They need to win this year. It's a great win. Northwestern would be in the NCAA tournament today. Having said this, Indiana, what happened to you defensively? What is going on? You were up 22-4 on Iowa. You took your foot off the gas. You were ready to play the game. You took your foot off the gas. I sense at times Indiana lacks urgency. I sense complacency from Indiana. I get the sense with Indiana, how have they gotten better? Well, in reality, they haven't. Trace Jackson Davis is a great player. He's a great player. But I brought this up. There are some guys who have returned. They've been in college basketball so long that at some point it becomes a dog with old tricks that people have caught up with. And Indiana, to me, I don't sense anything like where's the tweak coming from or where's the change coming from. I think they are who they are. I think Hood-Schifino's special. I think they'll have enough to get there, to get to the NCAA tournament. Kentucky's in danger mode. They are.
One thing real quick on Indiana, they also have a win at Xavier and a win over North Carolina, 2 quad one wins already, and they play in a Big Ten that is a little bit, I think it's a little bit softer than the SEC. Go ahead, Fanta.
Right, exactly. Indiana has racked up a couple of quality wins, the quad one wins, like you said, going to Xavier and winning. That win has now, I think if Xavier and Indiana played today, Xavier would win. But that was early in the season, and this happens in college basketball where wins either grow in value or, like we were talking about with Charleston, they played some teams they thought would be good or decent, and then the win doesn't have the same value. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal with Kentucky. Kentucky, I'm concerned about, and if you're a Wildcat fan, you should be too. Kentucky is 0-4 against Quadrant 1. They do not look capable of beating one of the teams we listed in Tier 1, and I don't think they're capable right now of beating anybody in Tier 2. Well, the SEC's got plenty of those teams in Tiers 1 and 2. And Kentucky's schedule, when you look at it, they're at Tennessee this Saturday. They're winning that game? No chance. They're not winning that game. Right. Their SEC Big 12 Challenge game is against Kansas. You think they're going to beat Kansas? I don't see it. It ain't happening. The game might be in Lexington. Doesn't matter to me. They're 0-4 against Quadrant 1. They have 9 combined wins against Quad 3, Quad 4. They have 1 Quad 2 win. They haven't done anything. If their name wasn't Kentucky, we wouldn't be talking about them. We wouldn't be talking about them. They haven't gotten better. Their offense isn't good. I don't see it.
Yeah, they gave up. When was the last time that you saw a Kentucky team quit in a situation like that?
Terrible.
They kind of rolled over and died at Alabama. And Alabama was good. But that was the first time. That was the first time that I watched Kentucky, and I was like, I don't even think the fight's there, right? I know that they lost by 10 to UCLA, and they lost at Gonzaga by 16, but they were competing in that. They made a couple runs late, and they got smacked around by Missouri. But again, they made a couple runs late. They just rolled over and died at Alabama. And that was the biggest red flag to me.
Yeah, it's the ultimate mismatch in terms of styles. And when just one team tries to do one thing, when another team tries, like Nate Oates and how they try to push the ball and play small and shoot threes and play with pace and all that stuff, Kentucky pounds the air out of the ball. And like that's kind of what that happens. But going back to your question, am I worried about Kentucky? If you look at their schedule, a win over Michigan, a win over LSU, who played them tight, and LSU's number 80 on KenPom. So it's like LSU's been fine, but Kentucky, it's like, when are you going to get your marquee win? They need something soon. Like if they can win at Tennessee, that changes the tone a little bit. That's going to be very difficult, though.
They're not winning that game.
Tennessee can throw bodies at Big Sheep. Bodies, plural. Like it's unbelievable.
If they can win at Tennessee, right? If they can win it, that's like, you know what? If I win the lottery, then that'll bring my gambling winnings into the positives this year, right?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, like it'd be like talking about me being in a swimsuit edition this summer. It ain't happening.
I'd buy that calendar.
I know you would.
I'd buy it too.
I know you would. Here's the deal too. I might have to get an NIL deal with a calendar now that you say it. All right. Here's the deal, though. Whereas the Big Ten, 12 of the Big Ten's 14 teams are in the conversation for a tournament bid. The top of the SEC is great, but the SEC's back half, as you fellas know, is not particularly strong.
Yeah.
So Kentucky, where they sit, they're at a crossroads. Like, they're literally at a crossroads in the net. They're 46 in the net. There are 6 SEC teams ahead of them in the net. The net actually does a good job summing up the SEC. So I don't think they're good enough to beat 4 or 5 teams in the SEC, whether the game's in Lexington or there. The next highest team in the net in the SEC is Florida at 70. So my point is, it's not like this league has infinite chances to get resume wins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I know time is going pretty short, but just to reference Indiana real quick, I think Race Thompson meant more to that team than just the numbers. Like, as soon as he got injured, and Iowa was making a bit of a run, there's no doubt. But as soon as he got injured, it was like they let the air out of the balloon a little bit. It was like, man,
they are a mess defensively without.
Yeah, well, let me just say this: if they're
fucked up,
if it's close, both teams are getting the benefit of the doubt, and I have a feeling it's going to be close. Like, so, I think it's an overreaction.